I heard your father speak yesterday in another interview in Spanish, and he said the WBA is on its way to mandating a fight with you and Bivol. Should Bivol be successful in his May 30th title defense? Is that the plan to fight Dimitri Bivol next? And are you guys going to reach out to make that happen after May 30th?
No, yeah, for sure. So we're already in talks with that. But first things first, we got to see how he comes out. If he comes out with any injuries, I don't think it's going to be any. He's going to have any problems in that type of way. But that fight is definitely happening. I told you guys that's the next one, and that's exactly what we have on our radar. That's the one we're going to make happen next.
Wow, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Some absolutely breaking news. What I just showed you right there does not even top it. I got two more videos to show you guys and discuss. Shout out to Sean ZITTEL and Shawn Porter, David Benavidez interview. Sean ZITTEL, you just heard, says he heard David Benavidez' father talking about the WBA mandating a fight between David, the Mexican monster Benavidez, who is the WBA regular light heavyweight champion, to face Dimitri Bivol after Dimitri Bivol versus Michael Eifer fight going down in Russia. A fight that has the IBF and WBA light heavyweight titles on the line. A tune-up fight for Dimitri Bivol returning from his back surgery. The WBO title not on the line due to politics. The WBO saying they will not be involved in any world title fights taking place in Russia. If you haven't heard that, that was breaking news itself. But we know that the WBA did come out with a statement a couple months ago saying, yes, they were going to mandate the fight between David Benavidez and Dimitri Bivol, but after Dimitri Bivol has his trilogy fight with Arthur Beterbiev. Now, we don't know if Beterbiev is next for Dimitri Bivol at this moment. Eddie Hearn came out in an interview the other day and said, looky, we're in talks. And you just heard David Benavidez say, yeah, we're in talks. They're in talks with the WBA to making this happen. But Eddie Hearn says, if the powers behind the people who wanted Dimitri Bivol and Arthur Beterbiev, if they still want that, then that's what's going to happen. And the powers behind, he was talking about Turki Al-Sheikh. If Turkey still wants that fight, that's the fight that's going to happen. But you just heard Sean ZITTEL claim that David Benavidez' father said that they've been in talks with the WBA and they're getting ready to mandate the fight right after Dimitri Bivol is done fighting Michael Eifer. And that makes things absolutely interesting. Because if that's the case, will Dimitri Bivol once again vacate his WBA bout now? Because Turkey and him decide that they want to go with a trilogy fight, just like how they did with the WBC. Pulling out a day before the purse bid, when they were mandated to fight against David Benavidez for the WBC title. Even Turkey said he wasn't going to be involved with the purse bid. A day before it went down, they pulled out. Why? To chase the trilogy fight. Well, that doesn't end up happening. Dimitri Bivol undergoes back surgery. And we're here now. It's breaking news if this is true. If the WBA is really going to mandate this fight right after he's done fighting Michael Eifer, dude. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Now, during this interview with Sean ZITTEL and Shawn Porter, David Benavidez talks about the sparring with Zudo Ramirez and how he says, bro, I've heard every single person that I've ever sparred with since I was 14 years old. What I did to Zudo Ramirez, I did that to him during sparring. And what I did to Zudo Ramirez is with the same exact thing that I did to Dimitri Bivol. I just don't want to brag about it. Check this out.
Yeah, so based on the sparring, I know the potential of certain type of scenarios in the ring. And, for a fight to change, a fight to end, it only needs 1 second or one good combination. So I know that I told you guys over and over then that I did this to Sudo Ramirez in the ring. I did the same thing to Dimitri Bivol. I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but those are just the facts.
I mean, my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. And then David Benavidez goes on with, I think, is the most breaking news out of all of them, with saying, listen, I know Dimitri Bivol at one time wanted to fight. He says before he finished his career, he wants to fight for the Cruiserweight World titles. Well, guess what? I got 2 of the Cruiserweight World titles. I want to fight Dimitri Bivol, and I'm down to do this at 190 pounds catch weight with not only the light heavyweight titles on the line, undisputed on the line. Of course, Dimitri Bivol carries the IBF, WBA, and WBO titles. And David Benavidez is the reigning WBC full light heavyweight champion. So for all the light heavyweight titles and also the cruiserweight titles, let's do it at 190 pounds, says David Benavidez.
I've been calling for all these fights because I've told you guys I've been 100% ready for this. So what I was thinking, you know, right? How could we make a fight even bigger? I was thinking of maybe we do a catchweight at 190. We get the cruiserweight belts involved, the light heavyweight belts involved, and winner take all. Dimitri said he wanted to fight for the cruiserweight championships before his career was over. So maybe this is we can make a even bigger fight like that.
Bro, is that even possible? Will the sanctioning bodies even comply? I'll tell you what, the WBA and the WBO would be getting paid double time. If they gotta pay sanctioning fees for every single sanctioning bout, including for both divisions, my goodness, the sanctioning fees are gonna be high. But I guarantee you the WBA and WBO are gonna be like, let's do it. Let's do it. Now, will Dimitri Bivol want to do it? I don't think so. We've seen the way David Benavidez looked at cruiserweight. I don't think he wants to give David Benavidez another 15 more pounds at 190. And I think he'd rather suck him back down to 175, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know if that will end up coming to fruition. But I do see a fight at 175 pounds taking place at the end of the year. Not in September. David Benavidez has confirmed.
If I do end up fighting him, it's probably not going to be until like the end of the year. Or, you know what I mean? It won't be in September. But if I get to work now, you know what I mean? I could get down to that weight, you know, and that's exactly what I'm planning. Yeah, planning to do. I'm planning already get to work.
He is not fighting in September. Mexican Independence Day, how everybody wants him to take over these, you know, special days for the Mexican culture. It doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. David Benavidez says, you know what, man, I gotta cut down a lot of weight. I see this fight happening later on in the end of the year. It's absolutely breaking news. Let me know what you guys think, ladies and gentlemen. This is the MMA Boxing Addicts channel bringing it to you. Shout out to Sean ZITTEL, Sean Porter. Great content. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out.